And now, your official TigerBait live show with Mike Scarborough and Buddy Songy starts now.
All right, everybody, welcome in. Big edition of TigerBait Live tonight. LSU with the big Bayou Splash recruiting weekend, a who's who of top recruits, commits, classes of 25, 26, 27. We'll discuss that on the show tonight. We can talk a little LSU baseball. I don't think there's been much news since last week. 8 days, buddy, 8 days until the start of fall camp. We're waiting to get the exact schedule to know when we're out there. And we're excited about the Smokey Investment team, again, sponsoring our fall practice reports. They sponsor our spring and fall practice reports. And we're very thankful to Bart and Brian at the Smokey Investment team. Talk a little bit about them later in the show. And, of course, this show is brought to you by our title sponsor, Pride Roofing, Genesis of Lafayette, Alumni Hall, and others. And welcome in, buddy.
Good to see you, Mike. I tell you what, folks, I'm not going to gripe about all of this rain because it has been appreciably cooler. Nobody can cut your yard right now. Watch the weather. It's going to be raining for another week. But the temps are going to be a little bit lower. Not going to have any problems this summer and this fall camp working on the wet ball drill. There's plenty of that. But getting excited, and I'm sensing that momentum. We talked about it last week. DJ Pickett started that ball a-rolling, and you want to see how fast and furious it can roll because this is what you do, Tiger Nation. You start getting excited, and I heard you and Charlie talking about it a little bit. The 8 and 4s get to 9 and 3s, and then the 9 and 3s get to 10 and 2s. But none of us know, but it's exciting not to know. And my big worrisome, as I've been doing a deep dive, is once again, Mike, the cornerback spot and the depth, the size, and the experience. Is that going to allow Blake Baker to play the kind of defense he wants? And you obviously have been talking about the beef and the D tackles.
Speaking of beef, we got Manda Sausage on board with us too tonight.
Yeah, how about that? We'll give you some Manda tidbits tonight. But look, LSU picked 5th. That was a little bit higher than you and I because we saw this wave of OU and Texas media ask all these questions. But everybody I talked to enjoyed Dallas. Everybody talking season now. Big Ten, of course, with Ohio State.
Did you see the UCLA coach's video?
I did not.
Oh, you got to watch that. It's brutal. It's making the rounds. It was bad.
Well, and, of course, they come into Tiger Stadium. Yeah. And so exciting time. But, look, that splash could and you and I talked about it, maybe not necessarily a public verbal commitment, but they are breaking bread and trying to get some of these decisions because 25 is now heading towards about 20 commits here and another couple more. And in that 3, 4, 5 range, maybe 2, 1, depending on how you finish. Good time to be a Tiger fan.
Yeah, man, you got a recruiting class. It's across the networks. Average recruiting class ranking of 3.6. I mean, it is a fantastic class. And so get another cornerback, 2 or 3, get another defensive tackle, finish out with some more receivers. And this class here is what it is. To think on, what was it, Memorial Weekend, they were at 11. And I'm like, man, they're not going to get there by Labor Day, the typical 21 where they've been the last 2-3 years. And shoot, 18 commits now, and you can kind of fill in the blanks. They're going to be right there at 20 plus by Labor Day. So a lot of guys are going to want to get it done. They want to get it done. They don't like going in a fall camp in a recruiting dead period without knowing pretty much who they've got, and then only have a handful of guys that they really have to get after. I mean, look, you got to maintain what you've got, obviously. A lot of these kids are high maintenance, and they need to feel the love, but still, they're working on 26 in a big way now.
Well, and look, Mike, we've been doing this a long time, especially you with the recruits. Whenever you have a great class, generally speaking, there's a great quarterback, and he's the lead dog. And Bryce Underwood, I'm a firm believer, along with everybody else, helped bring in Derek Meadows. I didn't really keep up with this guy. I'm watching this film, 6'6", 205, hurdler, can run When's the last time you had a big receiver like that you're going to put in here? He's going to be fantastic. Understand Las Vegas high school competition is different from the great ones like Louisiana, Georgia, California, Florida, and others, and Texas, obviously. But big pickup there. Jonah Williams coming in. You and I were talking about it today. Jay Johnson's involved. Brian Kelly's involved. He's a two-sport player. You can make that transition, football, baseball, not football, basketball. That's too hard on the body. And then French coming in here. I wanted to ask you a little bit about French and also Philip Wright, two wide receivers coming in with the splash this
Yeah,
weekend.
I mean, look, when you've had those type of kids, French and others that have come many times on their own dime to visit unofficially, that kind of tells you something. There's one of the kids on the list that, I'm kind of scratching my head about, and that's Fegans, the safety from Thompson High School in Alabaster, Alabama. I know that they're doing a darn good job recruiting that kid. And,
well, you told a great story on the show today.
Yeah, I'm sitting there at the Friday Night Lights, and I'm really kind of liking the 27 quarterback. And I'm like, who's that kid? Man, he can sling it. And then this guy next to me says, that's my quarterback, Thompson High School. And then I'm realizing, okay. And I look over, and it's Fegans. And I'm like, yeah, well, I got you right here on my phone. It says you're high on Auburn. And he looked at me like, I never said that. And kind of like, he didn't say it, but kind of like, yeah, we'll see about that. And of course, he's about to make a decision. If he's a high lean to Auburn, they're going, why do you need to come back to LSU?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that LSU's about to yank him, but man, that's, I always say, watch what they do, not what they say. And that's something, man. I saw someone in the chat said, why isn't Underwood? I don't concern you about that. I mean, just to come in for a pool party. He's been LSU so many times.
No, I heard he had a friend get in a car accident. He's going to a funeral. So
there you go. And then you also have some kids that their high schools do retreats and they go out of town. There's a lot of, family vacations. I mean, there's stuff going on.
But remember, Mike, even Nussmeier was a big part of getting that class in. Walker Howard with Will and Embry and everybody. These guys get together, and now you start bonding. Everybody's texting. You're going on visits. You're talking about all the things that you discuss. And Harlan Berry.
Tristan Lee was a big part of that.
Oh, yeah. But look, no doubt about it. And,
by the way, what is he doing?
Who's that?
Tristan Lee. Is he a big player? Has he been starting anywhere?
Yeah.
I need to go look at him, see what he's doing.
But I was going to say Russell Shepard and all these guys, they get people involved. And I think Underwood, you and I was asking you, nobody that I know has a comparison to Bryce Underwood coming into LSU. And I think one of the cool things, you were over there to see him Friday Night Lights. How cool is that? He can get in the Tiger Stadium. Now, granted, 7-on-7, but get in that stadium and fantasize about what that thing is going to be like when he's playing against Alabama, Oklahoma, Texas, and all that. And so Barry,
I really like Moses. I haven't even worked that video up. I mean, I got video from spring I still haven't worked up from Destrehan. I need to get some of this stuff up. I mean, I know probably it's a little old now, but I think a lot of people would like to see it. But I got probably a couple of minutes of just Underwood throwing JD LaFleur, David LaFleur's son, LSU commitment. That Friday Night Lights is really a fun deal.
And Mike, I think every Tiger fan is hoping, and we don't know when it'll happen, but hoping LSU gets back to DBU. And that's not going to happen this year. But I'm hoping in 25, they've got a much better representation of LSU defensive backs, LSU DB, and getting that physicality and those turnovers again.
All right, let's dive in here. If you're enjoying the show, as always, please do me a favor, hit that like button. And again, that helps us with the YouTube algorithm. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button also and that notification bell. We're going to start loading out those Smokey Investment Team practice reports as soon as we get out at fall camp. And all the press conferences, we're going to get coordinators again. So we'll be at everything that every media opportunity they give us here at TigerBait. And by the way, we're on TikTok now. LSU Tigers on TigerBait if you're a TikTok user. loading a bunch of TikTok style videos up there. All right, Roger Ramjet. Hey, Mike and Buddy, good to be with you. Always enjoy the show. Thank you for that. Oh, Danny girl, real early. LSU Tigers on TigerBait, the optimist and the legend. Good evening, fellas. She must have seen me. Blake was live a little while ago, and I sent him an 11-1 super chat.
Well, look, Danny girl, Nurse Court, Blake, it's one big family affair. And isn't it great that we have something like LSU football and sports to bond us all together? Because everybody's different, and everybody looks at it differently. But that anticipation, you can't put a price on getting excited, wondering, what it's going to look like that opening game, and wondering what this season is going to unfold. It's really half the fun, the anticipation.
Just so y'all know the little bit of the background on that. Anytime anything negative happens to LSU, I'll immediately text everybody 7-5. Toviano 7-5. And so that's why I hit Blake with that 11-1 earlier. All right. Barry Barbie, why is it? Yeah, okay. I already got to that. Eric DeLion says audio and video is great. All right. Good for that. Chances for Jonah Williams. I kind of got some 411 on that a couple of days ago, and I really like where LSU sits with him. Jay Johnson and Brian Kelly are going to be on the same page when he rolls in here, and it's absolutely an LSU baseball, LSU football doubleheader, and I don't think NIL is a big deal, but that said, I do think that what LSU is going full force, and talked to a very well-known professional baseball scout that in the area, and says he's a first-round draft pick. He's Deion Sanders all over again. He's a first-round draft pick in baseball, first-round draft pick in football. You're talking about a 6'3", 200-pound safety, an outfielder who can also pitch. Like I said to Buddy earlier, who does that remind you of? And Chad Jones is the answer. So,
but when you throw in Deion Sanders, that means he can flat out fly. This is part of that rebuilding of getting DBU. You got to get some safeties. Really excited about Deshaun Spears. He went by Deshaun McBride in the spring, still wearing number 10. Look for number 10 on defense. I think you and I feel like he'll be playing September 1, probably on special teams, maybe in nickel and dime. That kid's going to be in the lineup at some point in the season, I think.
Some of the gist that I get out of Texas is that his first love is football. Maybe dad is more baseball, and of course he wants to come and play both. And it's one of those deals where you come to town, you're a couple of years in, and maybe you see where the dust settles and you realize what your path is. And if it's baseball, you got him for 3 years, a kid who's considered that high of a pick.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying he's going to be a first-round draft pick next summer, but a kid like that with that kind of potential, whether he is at this point or not, they take flyers on kids like that to get them to avoid college.
Well, I know, but I don't want to sound like a homer. But if you're a high school athlete and you come play for LSU in Tiger Stadium and then in the SEC, and then you come play at the box for Jay Johnson, that's a pretty damn tough combination, in my opinion. Might be a little bit biased, but look, everybody knows Jay Johnson. In case you didn't hear the latest, everybody does this silly stuff. You heard this early baseball poll coming out today? LSU won.
Okay.
Tennessee was 7, Florida was 2, Florida State was, and none of that means anything.
Was that Kendall? Was that D1? Who was
No,
it?
It wasn't Kendall. It was college baseball or somebody else.
Collegiate baseball?
Not, it was somebody that wasn't normal. But my point is that he has reloaded the cupboard with a lot of talent. And, oh, by the way, in case you missed it, it will get Ross Dellinger, Mike's good buddy, broke it, 34 scholarships that will get the I's dotted and the T's crossed with the settlement released with the NCAA on Friday. 105 in football, and that's 25 more.
That's killing the mid-majors.
Is that going to be full scholarships? It's been 85, and you've had 20 for walk-on to have. So if that's another 20 scholarships, Holy cow.
The rich get richer.
No doubt. But Jonah Williams, a big weekend here. And like I said, that's a double whammy.
But I say that. The rich get richer, but you know what also I think it does? I think it gives a lot more high school kids opportunities.
And that's good. That's good.
And so that is a positive. So it gives kids an opportunity, tweeners, kids that ain't finished growing. They get to go to a Sunbelt school, and then they get to have their pockets picked.
That goes into effect 2025-26 season. So that will be 25 football and everybody else that plays in the fall, and then 26 for the ones that baseball and the rest.
Yep. Saf Adams, last live, I comment Jonah Williams will probably be a Tiger. Now it's really looking like that. They're putting their best foot forward, but you got Texas schools also highly involved. But, to me, if you're in Galveston, Beaumont, you go to East Texas, and sometimes you wonder if you've actually left Louisiana, because it's more of Louisiana flavor is just seeping more and more to Houston. If you're in Galveston, you can get to Baton Rouge pretty darn quick. And for a two-sport kid, LSU's got a lot to offer there.
Charlie Alexander, the great from Galveston ball, and everybody knows the joke. Charlie Mack called him Alexandria. I like the city, but Charlie's got a hot sauce. Come on, man, and he's really classy guy. Of course, in the College Hall of Fame, a superstar. And so, man, I'd love to see another Galveston ball become a Tiger. This guy's got superstar written all over him.
Absolutely. Dane Bergeron, good evening, Mike and Buddy. Buddy, I see you have Mike dressed better this week.
Look, Mike is the GQ. I'm the guy that just gets here and generally looks kind of rough. So,
yeah, David Woodard. Look, there's always been this sentiment over the years, but he says, impressed with the class of 2025 so far, but will not be until I see the letter of intent signed. There's always been people that have commented like that for decades, but in the NIL area, it really is more true than ever before. Trey Potan with a super chat. Thank you. Hey, fellas, love the show. Does Blake Baker get this LSU's defense in the top 50 this year?
Look, one of the things that I think we all have to sit back and take notice of is that you're going to have a little patience this year. Garrett Nussmeier is starting for the first time. He started in the bowl game. But I'll just ask you a quick trivia question. A little Manda spicy tidbit. You agree that if you compare Nussmeier this year with Joe Burrow in 18 and Jaden Daniels in 22, their first years as a starting LSU quarterbacks, that's a little more fair than comparing to Burrow in 19 and Daniels last year, obviously, right?
Yep.
So what do you think Joe Burrow had number of touchdowns and INTs in his first year as a starter?
Go ahead.
16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Just under 3,000 yards, 2,900 and some change yards. Jaden Daniels, 17 touchdowns, 3 INTs. Another 2,900. Neither one of those guys in their first year threw for 3,000. Neither one of them threw for 20 touchdowns, but they had ball security. And so you got to realize Nuss is a slinger, but you're going to run that football and you're going to get a feel before you get crazy out there. And this is one of the things we talk about. With that big offensive line, you may see Brian Kelly have an LSU team that looks a little bit like those big Fighting Irish Notre Dame big uglies and run that football for ball control. But that surprised me, Mike. 16-5 and 17-3. And here it is, Nuss, everybody I talked to, he's going to throw 30 touchdowns in this. Let's wait to see how this offense evolves. But it's exciting. But I think you got to agree. Compare him to Burrow, his first year starting, and Jaden Daniels, his first year starting. You got a new coordinator in Joe Sloan with Cortez. I mean, there's a lot of new pieces to the puzzle. Give them an opportunity. So connecting the dots, I think the defense will be top 50, but maybe by game 5 or 6. Not the first couple of games.
Trey, thank you for that super chat. And let's go ahead and hear from Mandis.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
The official smoked sausage of LSU Athletics. Hey, listen, they have supported me for 30 plus years. We appreciate all of you supporting Manda, and you'll see more of them on our YouTube shows. And Mike, you know, you're a perfect spokesperson for Manda again because you've been spicy.
I had the Cajun roast beef right in the fridge. I mean, that's the bomb.
But you've been spicy, and folks, if LSU wins that first game, I'm gonna bring a boatload of Manda over to Mike and his beautiful lady because it's gonna get spicy at times this year.
Yeah, you know, I like the green onion.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, we're glad to have Manda with us. All right, let's dive some more into some comments here. Yeah, Dane Bergeron said they needed to increase the number of baseball scholarships.
Absolutely. 11-7 for all those years was ridiculous.
Absolutely. Big Honus Kell, like, share, subscribe. EW the fourth. It's crazy how for 2 years we had to hear about Nuss this and Nuss that. People wanted him to start over Jaden last season. Now y'all are saying temper our expectations. I don't know that's because of that. I've just kind of been like, you know, what if you get out of Nussmeier's junior year what you got out of the last 2 Heisman Trophy candidates in their junior year? I think that's very serviceable seasons.
Yeah, and I think that was the whole comparison. We're not trying to act like we know what Nuss is going to do. He threw for 300 plus, had a great game against Wisconsin and led to a comeback. But what we're trying to say is he doesn't have the experience. You got a new coordinator. I mean, let's be honest. It's going to take a little bit before you find out who your go-to guy is, who you can rely on, how many times you're going to throw it up deep. I mean, all the things that you come up with. Joe Sloan, I'm excited. I think him and Hankton are going to dial it up this year. I really do. Ricky
Tucker's got a comment that I absolutely agree with. He said, not enough is being said about Colin Hurley. He is a sleeper of the 2024 class. And I agree. It's Underwood this, Underwood that. And I don't think Colin Hurley is just going to roll over and say, come on in. The job's yours in a couple of years.
He looked good at the end of the spring. And guess what? If Nuss gets dinged, all the 3 quarterbacks are going to have a shot. So practice will be very important for Colin Hurley. Absolutely. Very mature for a 17-year-old.
Absolutely. And he's soaking it all up. He's grasping everything. And I think the weight room has been very kind to him as well. I can't wait to see him out there in a week or so. Yeah. Jeff Eckermeyer, how important is it that LSU win game 1? Vitally important. That sets the tone. You look at the way the schedule sets up, you win that one, and you take care of business. You got time to iron things out before Ole Miss comes to town, and that'll be, you know, you can argue what's the bigger home game of the year. You got 3 really good ones, 3 really big ones, but that one is a pivotal game if LSU takes care of business in week 1 and you see them getting better each week and you start having playoff designs in your eyeballs and getting all excited, the Ole Miss is going to give you the barometer.
Well, and look, bottom line is that LSU fans have had to endure a loss for 4 consecutive years on the opening game. Now, they got USC in Vegas. I'm hearing people, there's going to be 30 to 35,000 Tiger fans in Allegiant Stadium, okay? Legion Stadium. And so they're going to be well represented. They're also going to drink people dry, and they're going to gamble, and they're going to eat, and they're going to go crazy. But if you win that game, your schedule sets up to give you an opportunity to start 5-0 and have an open date and then play Ole Miss. You lose that game, all the coaches' wives are going to have to shop at 1:30 in the morning because it's going to be hell. Mm-hmm. What? Mrs. What? Oh, your husband? You know how people are. This, and you can say all you want, he's got to win the freaking game. So you're saying September 1.
So you're saying they'll be doing the curbside delivery for groceries?
It could be, but no, just for the PR and the record and everything you got. And they were already a 6-point favorite. You and I have discussed this. You pick 8-4, 9-3, and you say that sounds pretty legitimate, reasonable. But they're favored in almost every game right now. I know those lines are going to change, but they're a 6-point favorite. If you're a favorite, damn it, in like year 3 with Brian Kelly, you should win the freaking game, right? I'm not talking about an underdog, talking about a favorite. But we don't know how this team is going to develop. We don't know the leadership, don't know the breaks. That's what makes it exciting.
Yep. Mike Menville. Wow, Buddy's still repping Manda. I feel like I'm listening to 1210. So he goes back a ways.
Yeah.
What was 1210's last year? 09?
Oh, gosh. I can't remember all the years. As long as I can talk. But we appreciate all those stations. Manda's been with me for 30 years, and it's hard not to put on weight when you have a product like that, but we're going to get in shape for this. Look, you and I pulled up one of those films from last year. That sun had us beaten down, man. We were wilting, and of course, we told the story today. The camera actually got so hot it shut off.
It was crazy.
Hopefully, we don't have the 20 days of 100 this year.
Rick Cloetti, Buddy has a good point about Nuss being his first year starting, but Burrow and Daniels had not been at LSU as long as Nuss when they started.
Absolutely a good point.
Yeah. And despite the fact you have a new offensive coordinator, Sloan has been the guy they've been working with. So,
and this kid's been in ball all his life. He grew up with his daddy playing and daddy coaching. But once again, you still have to understand he hasn't done it consistently yet. I think this is Nuss's team, and I think right there on the outside, when you got Will Campbell and Emory Jones, that's a hell of a 3 guys right on the line. You can look at quarterback, left tackle, right tackle. You got to feel pretty good about that kind of leadership.
Devin Johnson with a super chat. Thank you for that. He says, why can't LSU fill Tiger Stadium? That's not just an LSU problem. That's across the SEC problem. I've heard Verge Alsbury talk about it. I think Scott Woodward may have said some things. But they all say things definitely off the record where it's almost across the board where athletic directors in the SEC have some regrets about building and overbuilding their stadiums for capacity. One, because you're always going to have that number that just you're not going to top it off at because they're wanting more suites, they're wanting more boxes, they're wanting more premium seating. Everybody's had the experience where you might be a South End Zone season ticket holder, and you get an opportunity to sit in club level, and you get to eat the ice cream sandwiches and go up there and get a mixed drink and the air conditioning and cool off at halftime and, eat nice food, and they're carving roast beef and everything else up there. People want that experience and they're willing to pay for it, And so to me, that's a part of it. And I think, if there's going to be more renovations in the future, I think you're going to see seats being taken out in favor of that type of seating.
Yeah, I agree there. But look, you got some older season ticket holders. Every game is on TV for the most part. Weather affects them. Start time affects them. And Mike, let's be honest. Your Wi-Fi and all your social media doesn't work in Tiger Stadium that should work. By the way, what are you most excited about? The light show or some of the other scoreboard? What's the most incredible thing?
I'm looking forward to the scoreboard.
Yeah, scoreboard I think is going to be a conversation piece for sure.
Well, it's one of those things too. It's and I'm going to the eye doctor in the morning, so I'm about to get new contacts. But there's sometimes even sitting in the press box where sometimes I find I'm watching the screen instead because I can get they're zooming in on different things, and so that's going to make it even better.
But
that thing's basically taking up the whole width of the north end zone.
But this year, very attractive home schedule. You're going to see UCLA in the sissy blue uniforms. You're going to see Ole Miss playing 6 straight weeks. They play at South Carolina and then come play at LSU. Carter Bryant, one of our buddies in the media, has done a deep dive. It's really hard to win back-to-back road games in the SEC. So you got a week to get ready for them, got a week to get ready for Alabama, and then you play Oklahoma and Vandy and then Oklahoma. at the back end. And so season tickets, you're gonna enjoy those. And look, for that LSU Alabama game in 2022, you were there. Overtime, 2-point play, Coconuts Kelly. What about it? You remember any empty seats?
No.
So for some games it'll be, but to keep a crowd, and it's really a paid crowd, you know, if they say 100 or 101, really it's what, 90, 95?
Yeah.
So, but it is a problem everywhere with college football.
Absolutely. And Jared Addison agrees with you. Yep, you can barely get a text out. You Verizon or AT&T? I'm a Verizon customer, and that I'm one of those happy Verizon people. I can tell you that. Most of the time, very rarely in 2 decades have they let me down. And I just gave them a free plug. There you go. All right. You know what else, Tom? It's let's hear from Pride Roofing.
Hi, I'm Michael with Pride Roofing.
I'm Little Alex.
Have you been affected by wind, hail, and tornadoes on the North Shore? Well, we're here to help.
Insurance claim, no problem.
We also have a new franchise location in New Orleans.
We don't build projects, we build memories.
Though you know Pride Roofing is the official roofer of TigerBait.com.
In fact, notify TigerBait and we'll give you a free roof inspection. And on top of that, you get a free year subscription. Remember to call us at 855-PRIDE-16.
There you go. I talked to Mike Faraday a couple hours ago. They're running specials right now. They've got a special on all metal roofing. They've got mobile home roofing packages on sale. Whether you've got a camp out on the river or wherever, or you in a mobile home and you have any roof issues, they're running a special on mobile home roofs right now. Ask them about fortified roofs. I've kind of looked into that myself. Fortified roofs down in the South and hurricanes and so forth. If you can get that fortified certification when you get your roof done, you can actually save on your homeowner's insurance with that certification. You have to get it redone every handful of years. They're absolutely one of those companies that are certified to do that. And they've got 2 metal roll formers, 2 mobile standing seam machines, and they've got $2 to $3 million in inventory. Unlike other roofing companies out there that will sell you a roof and you're going to wait 2 or 3 months because the shingles you want are on back ordered. They always have $2 or $3 million worth of roofing shingles in stock, and most of the time they've got what you want. And nobody can top Pride Roofing. They've got all the equipment. They've got a huge their own facility that they own, and of course locations here in Baton Rouge, Homa, and New Orleans.
Yeah, I got the Pride Roofing hat on, and certainly talk those guys up. Look, you're not going to see them on TV every half hour making jokes, making all these crazy sayings. Look, we're down home people. We're old school. We want you to give us an opportunity. Residential, commercial. You mentioned metal roofs. Credible acquisition with Crown Metals. Change your roofing business. They will sharpen the pencil. We've had tens and tens of people call us and say, look, I want to do business. They're a little high. They will negotiate. They want your business because when you deal with them, you're going to brag to everybody. We talked about Brian Kelly bringing back the pride. You'll have the pride of your neighborhood. Give them an opportunity. Mike Kirby, reestablishing Baton Rouge office, doing a great job. Very busy. If you get the answering machine, 275-2041. Outside the Baton Rouge area, you can call Pride Roofing at
855-PRIDE-16.
There you go. I handed it off.
And say TigerBait, and you're going to get free TigerBait premium for a year.
There you go. Can't beat the deal.
They're paying the bill.
Great people. You're going to like them. Get there early, do the job, and you will be amazed. And thank you for all of those folks that have listened to us, because that's basically how they get in business, word of mouth.
There you go. Jared Addison said he's with AT&T. That could be your problem.
What?
Go with Verizon.
He said AT&T?
Yeah, he was with AT&T.
I am too. And
if you suffered through hurricanes and the outages here lately, if you're still with AT&T, man.
It's a love-hate relationship.
And Verizon ain't buying any advertising. I'm just there's a reason why people say that when they have the most customer satisfaction. So I just gave them a plug. Multiple. All right. Trucking with Casper comes in with a $49 super chat. Thank you for that, Casper. He says, great show as always, guys. I'm enjoying playing with the Tigers in college football 25, Mike and Buddy. I want each of your early predictions. Who are your top 12 college football playoff teams? Man, I haven't put together a top 12. I mean, what's easier for us, just to do which SEC teams we think? And if we say that, is it basically the ones that have the highest odds at this point right now? But yeah, by the way, Preston Guy actually took off a day of work to play that video game when it came out last week. So I've been harassing him pretty darn good about it.
Well, look, I must say this to Casper. First of all, from the bottom of our heart, we appreciate each and every one of you who do the super chats. But I think it's a real crapshoot. Number one, Mike, you don't even have a tiebreaker for the SEC championship right now. And I'll connect the dots. Nobody, not anybody, other than maybe God, knows how this thing is going to shake out. I have said, and everybody I've talked to, other than one Pete Cardelli, he thinks Georgia's going to go undefeated. I don't think anybody in the SEC.
I don't think they are.
So how many 11-1 teams do you have? How many 10-2 teams do you have? You're going to have 4 automatic conference championships.
What is there more of in the SEC? 10-2 teams or 9-3 teams?
Now that's going to be a tough call because there's a lot of teams that are going to lose a couple games. But at this point, the teams that people are putting in, obviously from the SEC, would be Georgia, would be Texas with that schedule, would be Alabama, and then a combination of Ole Miss. And after that, you'd probably say LSU is going to have to beat USC and go 10-2 if they want to be in the discussion.
I think
they can't get there at 9-3, right?
I think you and I have an SEC bias, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm willing to say that Ohio State isn't the team.
Well, no, they're going. Ohio State will be in there. Oregon will be in there. We're talking about the top 12, now.
Right?
So obviously, there's.
But I don't know that I'm necessarily putting without a little bit of discussion Georgia over Ohio State right now.
Yeah. But look, that's the great thing about the 12 this year. Doesn't matter if you're 5th. Doesn't matter if you're 11th. Doesn't matter if you're 1 or 12 or 2, whatever. We've never seen this format before. So, Casper, I'm a beg offer, but obviously there'll be a bunch of teams, and you can just look at it. Notre Dame is going to be preseason top 10. Penn State is going to be preseason top 10. Michigan, I don't necessarily think they're a top 10 team after losing all what they did and harm. So crapshoot, but you figure 3 or 4 in the SEC will have an opportunity. But can you believe it? They don't even have a tiebreaker at this point. And it makes sense. How do you come up with a tiebreaker? Look, if you got 2-11,
how much leeway do you think they're going to give themselves?
I don't know. I don't know how they're going to come about it. But
is there like an A and a B, and then a C is almost like SEC commissioner's discretion?
Well, let's just say there's an 11-1 team, and then there's 4 10-2 teams. How do you divvy up to see who's the 10-2 team that plays the 11-1 team?
Yeah.
It's crazy. And you know, the other schedule, the other thing, we don't know if it will be beneficial for LSU playing UCLA and USC in the same year as a non-conference. They win both those games. That's obviously a help with their strength of schedule. But you just don't know right now. But I think you and I both agree LSU is a year away from expecting to get to the playoff. They still could get there, obviously, this year. But I don't necessarily think you should expect it, because there are some holes that we got to wait to see.
But they could be there. You know, I mean, look where you're going to rank them preseason. We thought it was high at 5. We were thinking 7 to 8. But when you put them at 5, and even when we were talking about 6, 7, or 8, I mean, we've kind of been saying all off season, they're kind of in that range where, you know, they're going to be, they should be in that discussion. Even with issues that you have at positions on the team.
Yeah, probably 11, 12, 13, 14, somewhere in that neighborhood preseason AP poll, which comes out in August.
Absolutely. Trucking with Casper, man, thank you for your support, man. You've always been great to us in supporting TigerBait.
Thank you, Casper.
Thank you. Yeah, go Tigers. Casper's paying Mike's cell phone bill. Yep. Verizon. And boy, if you're a day late, man, they'll text you. I'll tell you that much.
Who's that?
Verizon.
Okay.
All right. Look at this. Blake returning the favor. He says they're going 15-0 LSU. AYS Sports in the house with us.
By the way, I've got to give a shout out and compliment to Blake because I tuned in the other night when he was having the commitment. I forgot which one. He was the lead dog on that thing. And, man, he has dropped some weight. So it's going to be –
he's been hitting the gym, man.
It's going to be hard when we get out there and to see a skinny Blake Ruffino lapping you and Chester Boucher when y'all are running.
Yeah, there you go.
When y'all are running to get the first camera shots.
Good for him, man. He's working hard at it, man.
Yeah.
And
good job, BR.
He's on the carnivore diet, and that, man, there's more people that are doing that, and it's working. I kind of do a little bit of that, but there you go. All right, and here we go. Kenny Haynes. Mike, I'm excited to sponsor the post-game football show in 2024. Again, go Tigers. And we're glad to have Kenny Haynes with us. If you need an attorney in North Louisiana, he's your guy. But again, the TigerBait post-game show, he's going to be on board with us.
But let's give him what he really brings to the site. And I'll give you a perfect, for instance.
He's got a great Toviano.
I was going to say, you sit here and you hear this kid and, oh, by the way, don't when you're in Vegas, don't roll 25 or try to win money with 25 because it's a snake bit number right now for LSU. Both 25 said some off the field problems. We'll see what happens with Trey Holly and JVM Toviano. But that's a perfect example of the value to his site. I can go over there. He can tell you about the NCAA being over. He can tell you about the protocol. He can tell you the difference between video voyeurism and just regular voyeur. I mean, he brings a lot to the site. And I appreciate.
Absolutely. That's why
I appreciate his knowledge.
He's the unofficial official attorney of TigerBait.
Yeah. Great job, Bug.
Yeah.
I look forward to meeting him this year. I really do.
And by the way, Buddy kind of teased it a little bit. As soon as we get the practice schedule for August and each date solidified, we are going to be having a TigerBait cocktail party at a local restaurant, and it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be at Struby's downtown, and man, the food there is amazing. And they're coming on board with us, and we're going to have a very nice cocktail party. Basically kind of a meet and greet.
Yeah.
Folks that watch the show, we'll talk football and more. We're looking at the week before game week. So what's that? Third week of August, whatever. We're going to nail all that down and let y'all know, but got a nice they got a nice bar area and a little side room, and everybody will be invited. Subscribers, non-subscribers, our YouTube followers. It should be a fun night to go out, kind of like a happy hour, sometime between 6 and 7:30, something like that. But we'll nail all that down and get it to you as it gets closer. Dane Bergeron with a super chat. Thank you for that, Dane. The rising prices of season tickets, along with poor past home schedules, have hurt football attendance. And if you're a season ticket holder and you suffered through some of that, or you think you have, this home slate certainly is anything but that. It's a fantastic season ticket package.
Well, look, we're not going to get into all the gripes that will rear their ugly head after that Nichols game when LSU plays them the second weekend of the season. But, you would love to see LSU and the BRPD get on the same page with traffic and make it a little bit more of an enjoyable entrance and exit. You'd like to see a little bit better with your ability to interact with your phone and on social media when you're in Tiger Stadium. You would like to see this part of the country with some of the best freaking food in the country. You'd like to see Tiger Stadium maybe have a little better concessions, and I'm not going to mention that name with a big A, but they have done a relatively poor job with concessions. So there's a lot of things to improve on, but new light show, new scoreboard, new numbers, new team, whole new defensive staff, and then those heavyweights coming in. But look, in this day and age, it's hard to get some of these kids to stay anywhere 3 or 4 hours, right?
Yep.
A lot of them are going to leave at halftime if it's not a competitive game. You didn't see anybody leave if it's LSU, Alabama, and OT.
Absolutely. Dane, thank you for that.
Thank you, Dane. I got a present for Dane. Of course, it is in the form of a doctor, as in Dr. Daniels. I've got Dane Dr. Daniels bottle for this season.
All right, let's hear from Genesis of Lafayette.
Got a brand new attitude, like bing bang boom on a pink balloon, like I just do what I wanna do, like ooh, ooh, brand new.
There you go, Genesis of Lafayette. Get over there. I'm telling you, the Jaron Guidry, the sales manager, Blake Mesh, and the whole staff over at Genesis of Lafayette. Big LSU fans. 877-856-2961. Tell them TigerBait sent you. You've got to drive the GV70, the GV80. They're sedans. Just about everything in the Genesis lineup is either number one or tied with other luxury brands in each segment of every vehicle they sell there, and nobody's going to beat them on making the experience enjoyable. Again, I've said it each and every week. The little lady wanted a new GV70, and we had been searching for months, and no luck. Some of it was downright rude, dealing with other dealers in the state of Louisiana. I'm not going to name names. And when I called Blake Mesh, he made it happen. Went all the way to Key West, Florida to get the exact one she wanted. Yeah, she was picky, and he made her happy, and they will for you as well. Give them a call, Genesis of Lafayette, and go test drive. You're not going to see a better looking interior on a vehicle these days.
Man, watching all these major golf tournaments, the Genesis Scottish Open, they are big into golf. Yep. It is unbelievable. I could only fantasize about having one, but your lady certainly deserves one, loves it. It is mighty impressive on TV, Mike.
Absolutely. It's a great car. And believe me, the reason why they're selling like hotcakes and nobody's selling more than Genesis of Lafayette is because they're priced right. You'd be surprised at the prices you can get in these cars. They're the average price of a new car, I think, is $49,000 these days. You can get in a GV70 loaded for $53,000, and 3.4% financing right now, by the way. Okay. Yeah, Paul Escon, I can't wait to be there. He's going to come to our little cocktail party.
I will buy him a drink because you know what? He's one of the first guys when we started.
I thought you were paying for the open bar.
Well, after what happened in the stock market today,
yeah,
it might be a little tougher to do. But look, Paul was one of the first guys that called me and you up, and he said, I want to give these guys an opportunity with Pride Roofing. And you heard the story, but he was amazed at just the quality of people and just the way they did their job. Got there early, knocked it out, sharpened the pencil. I mean, everything you want, very likable. He's already turned about 10 people on to Pride Roofing.
All right. Chance Babin has a topic that I meant to bring up already, and I'm glad he brought it up so we can talk about it. Texas Tech softball is paying that Stanford pitcher $1 million NIL. Chance, the word I'm getting from a source, and this was rumored several weeks ago. I was talking to former LSU softball coach Yvette Girard, who's got her ear to the ground. And, of course, Texas Tech went and hired away the Raging Cajuns softball coach. The word I'm getting is that it's well over $2 million, almost 2.5, could be close to 2.5. And some of that money.
But that was for 2 years, you said.
Yeah, and a big part of that money is coming from Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
But that's why he left the Cajuns for a big payday himself, their coach. And I don't know that necessarily she wanted to go to Texas Tech, but her parents saw that money. I mean, what do you do if you're a softball player? What's your professional career after that?
Najari Kennedy is the pitcher from Stanford. LSU beat her that first game. Couldn't believe it. Remember that first night? Hell, they did home runs. I forgot what the score was, but they dominated Stanford. And then she came back to beat LSU in the last two games. Of course, they made it to the Final Four. Everybody thought Oklahoma and Patty Gasso was going to lasso her in, but she goes to Texas Tech. And that just tells you about NIL. That young lady, if you're right, and I certainly know you've done your homework and have the right information, $2.5 million for 2 years with a women's softball pitcher. That's $1.2 million. That's almost like now. Nico from Tennessee supposedly is getting $7 or $8 million to be their quarterback, and we all know about some of the other faux pas what Florida and Billy Napier had with NIL. But that says a lot about what's going on right now. And the beautiful thing about it, women, Angel Reese, Haley Van Lith, Flau'jae Johnson, Caitlin Clark, everybody, and now this young lady, they're making the same kind of money men are for the most
let me
part.
ask you something.
And that's progress.
When you see this, and then you see, you hear the stuff about football, some of it's somewhat correct, some of it's way off. Now you understand why they go out and buy out Jimbo Fisher for how many million? The money's there.
67 or
The
whatever.
money's always been there. The money's there.
Yeah.
So, I think there's a lot of people that say, man, this is crazy. Is it? I mean, look what Jimbo Fisher's got to walk away.
Well, you mentioned Patrick Mahomes. Jerry Jones is doing the same thing with Arkansas. Arkansas has all these sugar daddies in basketball. Whether you like Calipari or not, they are buying a monster of a team. Ohio State, Ryan Day griped and complained, I'm getting beat. I need $13 million. Son of a biscuit went out, got $13 million, brought in 9 or 10 big-time transfers, including Judkins, the running back from Ole Miss. If you want to play with the big boys, it's a tricky, tricky thing, because if you get a guy and says, I want this to come in, Brian Kelly is going to go like, well, here's the way we do it at LSU. And we saw A&M spend $30 million, and that class went to hell in a handbasket. So you just have to trust your coaches the way. But ask Will Campbell and all those guys. They want you to earn it. And when you have Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, and Brian Thomas Jr. just recently, what they cashed in these checks, it's an easy sell, even though a lot of these kids want $5 or $10 grand just to visit nowadays, Mike.
Absolutely. Again, I mentioned it early in the show. Glad to have Bart and Brian Smokey and the Smokey Investment team on board with us. Give them a call, 318-448-3201, 318-448-3201. They'll help you reach your financial goals. And securities advisory service offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA/SIPC. And we're glad to have them back with us. And as always, what more can I say about Alumni Hall? You've got to get over there. They've got everything you need for this upcoming football season. They've got all the newest Nike coaches polos, Champion, Johnny O, On Reserve, Peter Millar, Southern Tide, and more. Shop with them, and you can earn rewards on future purchases with Hall Pass with their Hall Pass Rewards program. Use the discount code TigerBait, all one word, in store or online, and you're going to get 10% off your purchase. Go shop with my friends at Alumni Hall and use the code TigerBait to save. Get over there, get stocked up now before it all gets picked over. All the new Nike stuff. We're just weeks away from the new Nikes coming in. The annual Nike LSU shoes, running shoes. Those will be out soon, and they're going to have all that for you at Alumni Hall.
I always tell you, make sure you give yourself a little extra time to browse, look at all the stuff. Bottleneck. By the way, did you get caught in that storm this afternoon about 3:30?
I did.
Jesus. I wish I'd have been at Alumni Hall. I could have spent a half hour. It was raining cats and dogs where I was at.
Yeah, it was this side of town. Yeah, Blake does enjoy a little brown water. Mike says, make sure Skinny Blake is at the cocktail party. Carl the Cat says, I'm all about a party. And
I'm glad Carl the Cat's in the house, folks. We just got the latest rankings. Former LSU running back Eddie Fuller has ascended to the #1 high school referee in the state of Louisiana. Congratulations to Eddie. And Carl the Cat comes in. Where do you think he's?
Eddie Fuller's a ref?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Eddie Fuller's a ref, does a great job. Carl the Cat. Carl, you got to blow the whistle when the play is dead. But that being said, there's 55 officials this year. Carl the Cat comes in at
26.
24. So let's.
All right.
No, I don't want to give him 25. That's it's an unlucky number. Let's give him 24 or 26. You get to pick, Carl. And oh, by the way, LSU cornerbacks, bring your rosary beads, because they can't afford to have any injuries with Nuss or the corners. But Carl the Cat, you're a good man.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to add on the way out? I mean, obviously, we touched on the Bayou Splash, and that's going to be a really nice event. I think there's a couple of kids there that they'd love to solidify. I think I'd be shocked if a couple of kids doesn't say I'm coming and gets them to 19 or 20. Not say they're going to announce it publicly, but I think they're going to come out of that event knowing that they're at 20 or 21, and those kids will announce however they want to do it in the near future.
Look, got some Louisiana kids here. Anding, the cornerback from Ruston, as we alluded to, Philip Wright from Destrehan, some other kids coming in here. Big weekend. Paul Skeens got beat first time, went 8 in a third innings and gave up 2 runs. Pittsburgh does not give him a lot of run support, so he gets his first loss. A lot of former LSU athletes in the Olympics that starts this weekend. And, of course, as we know, Mike, we'll do some more deep dive into this LSU football team. They're going to have plenty of depth at some spots, and they're going to be thin at a few spots. Still another battle we hadn't talked about. Who's going to punt the football this year, and what kind of hang time and what kind of coverage skills are you going to have? And obviously, we're getting close, man. I'm excited. I looked in my phone. At the fall last year, we didn't have the 7:30. We had the 9:30. They started a little bit later, so we'll be out there. And I think that first day, does he meet with you guys first day when they report?
I'm about to pull the Indiana Jones hat out, I think, for some of them sunny days.
Well, look, we got rain the rest of this week and rain into next week, so we'll see. But we'll give you what we see, what we hear, and what we pick up. And once again, appreciate everybody being on the ride with us again this football season. Absolutely.
And we've got the full list of the Bayou Splash attendees on TigerBait.com. We're going to have all that coverage this weekend as well. Go to TigerBait.com, subscribe, be a part of our online community. We're on the message boards day and night. $1, you can try us out, but definitely choose the annual package. You basically are getting 3 months free when you choose that. And you're going to get all our text alerts, our newsletters, and the whole shebang. And again, if you enjoyed the show tonight, hit the like button. And if you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do. And that notification bell will alert you every time we go live or we upload new video pressers, etc. I've got several separate interviews that are going to be loading to the channel soon that y'all are going to like. So be on the lookout for that. Anything else you want to add?
You got Gary Regis coming up, don't you?
I hope so. But we're going.
They're getting ready to go on their trip, and look, it's an exciting time to be a Tiger fan. As always, I'm glad to see the NCAA expanded. This 11-7 for baseball was crazy. Now, the last couple of years, because of COVID, it's been a 40-man roster, but with 34, if there's anybody that's going to handle it, Jay Johnson will. And look, Tiger fans, I think you look at it, the glass half full, a lot of optimistic stuff. I feel that momentum. Boy, you get a Jonah Williams, you get a French, you get a couple of more pieces to the puzzle. All of a sudden, you're number 1, number 2, number 3 in that 25 class. You beat US. It's all one big roll of momentum, and that's what you want as you wrap up your summer.
Absolutely, absolutely. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the super chats as always. And we'll be back here next week. And thanks again to all of you. And y'all have a good rest of the week. Thank y'all.